Chapter 3. Captain Elena Rowe receives orders. Captain Elena Rowe had been awake for 26 hours when the summons arrived. Her office in the Pentagon sat in a corner where the sun rarely reached, a narrow space crammed with classified case files, an aging computer, and a wall of corkboard maps pin-stuck with timelines of military accidents she had quietly solved. Rowe had a mind built for patterns, hidden ones, messy ones, dangerous ones, and the Air Force used her accordingly. But this morning she wasn't solving anything. She was staring at the photograph on her desk. Her father stood beside an F-16, desert dust coating his boots, squinting into the sun with a grin that crinkled the edges of his eyes. She had been 12 when that photo was taken. 8 months later, Falcon Air Base called to say his jet had gone down during a night training exercise. Pilot error. It had shattered them both, her mother first, Elena second. But she had never accepted the explanation. Her father didn't make those kinds of mistakes. Not in the air. Not ever. She kept the photo close because unanswered questions had long memories. Because the past never stayed buried. Because part of her had been waiting 17 years for someone to say the words that finally came today. Her door opened without a knock. Lieutenant Colonel Abrams stepped in, his expression rigid. "Rowe, conference room. Now." Her pulse tightened. Abrams didn't summon people. He delivered orders like sealed weapons. His presence meant escalation. "Is this about the Nevada incident?" she asked, standing. No, his tone was flat. "It's Falcon." Her body went cold. Falcon. The name hit her like a jolt to the spine. She hadn't heard it spoken aloud in years. "A crash," he continued. "Lieutenant Aaron Harlow. F-22 disintegration mid-air. Unexplained." Her throat moved in a swallow she couldn't quite complete. "Cause? Unknown. Official channels are labeling it mechanical failure. We're not." Of course they weren't. An F-22 didn't just come apart. And Falcon didn't lose pilots unless something had gone catastrophically wrong, or deliberately hidden. "Why me?" Elena asked quietly. Abrams held her gaze for a long moment. Too long. "Because you see things the rest of us miss. Because you don't scare easily. And because..." He paused. "You know Falcon." Elena forced her eyes away. The air in the tiny office felt suddenly thinner. "That was a long time ago, sir." "You still want the truth about your father?" She met his gaze again, this time with steel. "No," she said. "I want the truth about anything that comes with a lie attached." Abrams nodded once. "Then pack. Wheels up in 2 hours." He left her alone with the photo on the desk. Elena sat slowly. The room seemed to tremble at the edges, as if her past had just stepped through the walls and taken a seat beside her. Falcon Air Base. She thought she had buried that part of her life. She thought she had stitched the wound well enough to hide its scar beneath years of professionalism and silence. But the summons had ripped every stitch loose. She closed her eyes. She could still hear her father's voice the night before he died. Could still see the way he paused when she asked him why Falcon was so tense lately. He had said nothing at first. Then he'd smiled too fast, hugged her too long, left before sunrise. His last flight took him west over the desert. His last transmission was a burst of static. His last word was lost in the noise, just like Harlow's. She shook herself fully awake. Emotion was a luxury, and luxuries killed investigations. She grabbed her go-bag and locked her office. On her way down the Pentagon corridor, she passed portraits of generals, war heroes, leaders who had stood in rooms where truth was both currency and weapon. Her career had taken her a third of the way there. If she solved Falcon, if she exposed what was buried, she could go farther. But that wasn't why she hesitated. Her hesitation came from the things she didn't say aloud. Falcon wasn't just the place her father died. It was the place where she learned the world wasn't fair, the military wasn't perfect, and truth had a cost measured in silence. And now they were sending her back. She reached the transport hangar. A C-40B sat waiting, engines humming with low, coiled power. A crew chief checked manifests. Another tightened cargo straps. The air smelled of jet fuel and cold metal. The sky above Washington was slate gray, promising rain. She climbed the ramp. Inside, Colonel Abrams handed her a tablet. Initial data, you'll analyze on the flight. Elena scrolled through the report. Black box corrupted. Flight controls stable until seconds before breakup. No weather interference. No enemy activity. No anomalies logged except, she paused on a line flagged red. Unidentified radio interference at the moment of system failure. Her heartbeat fluttered once. Harlow reported anything unusual? She asked. He didn't get the chance. His last attempt at transmission was cut short. What cut it? Abrams hesitated. We don't know. Elena looked up sharply. You don't know, or you won't say. We don't know, he repeated, slower this time. But Washington wants someone who'll push harder than the base will allow. She understood the real message. Washington wanted someone who couldn't be intimidated. Someone who had no loyalty to Falcon's command structure. Someone who already had a bone in this fight. She wasn't sure whether to feel honored or used. The engines throttled up. The aircraft rolled toward takeoff. A familiar pressure built in her chest, the one she always felt when leaving safety and flying straight into a storm. She strapped in. As the jet lifted into the clouds, Elena pressed a palm to the tablet's blank screen. Falcon. Her father. The unanswered question that had shaped her entire life. She whispered under her breath, barely audible. What happened up there, Lieutenant Harlow? The clouds swallowed the jet whole. And for the first time in 17 years, Captain Elena Rowe flew toward the place she had vowed never to return.